Hello, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all well. To my left, we've got Raj, so good afternoon.
Afternoon, Dan. How are you?
I'm fine, mate. Are you?
Yeah, good. Excited for the game tomorrow, and yeah, just good time to be a Forest fan, really. It's what we're picking up at the moment, becoming a team. So yeah, it's lots to look forward to.
Definitely. I mean, the excitement over Wednesday, that was just crazy. And now we've got Leicester tomorrow. I mean, it is pretty good being a Forest fan at the minute.
Yeah, it's all a bit overwhelming, really, with all the things that have happened from where we were to now. Like we were heading for League One at the start of last season, and now we're beating Big Six sides and like in so many finals of cup competitions. And the FA Cup run last year was one thing, but this is even bigger. Like to reach the semi final, and we've had to play home and away this time, albeit the away games have been against probably easier teams, particularly in Grimsby. But Blackburn was never going to be too straightforward. Obviously, we made it look like it was in the end, and Wolves was a very hard fought game, as I expected it would be. Spurs, we were fantastic from start to finish in that match, and we made a lot of changes, of course, for it. So I think we've handled it really well in the cups, and I think again it's only going to help us be stronger. And if we do what Aston Villa did a few years ago, where they just survive and they get to the League Cup final, I'll take that. Only hopefully we could do one better than that and win it, which is obviously not what any of us would have expected, or wouldn't have been seen as a priority at all. But I just can't get my head around it, especially as a younger fan, seeing us this far in a cup is it's pretty amazing. And what was it? It was like 40 years since we went to Wembley. We could be going twice in a year for all we know, but it is going to be a big ask to beat Man United over 2 legs. I just think that's going to be very difficult, especially without Henderson.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know it's only 31 years since we've been to a semi final of a major competition, and obviously it was 20 something years since we last went to Wembley, and in early 90s. Then it's just all crazy. And even Cooper said after his match on Wednesday, he said for the older generation to get to relive it again. Whereas us fans who are not really seeing that, we get to like finally see that the good days again.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, people like my dad, for instance, he's seen it all before Cloughie and everything. He's one of the older generation, of course, but with me and younger people, it's a first. I spent most of my life supporting Forest in the Championship, being pretty bang average and awful at times, and a lot of failures. It was a lot of faint hope being a Forest fan until Steve Cooper turned up, and since then I've maybe besides the start of this season, albeit we were in the Premier League, I've always gone into every game with confidence that we can get something. But the only reason why it changed at the start of the year a bit is because it was a harder league and we signed a whole new squad. And I think it really showed it that poor start was nothing to do with Cooper's lack of tactics. I mean, it might have been a bit because I think we play different to how we did at the start of the season. But I don't think it was purely down to Cooper just not being good enough. I think he's proven like he did it with a squad that he wasn't used to at the start of last season, and now he's done it having changed a huge amount of the squad, and he still managed to get us out of a poor situation in an even harder league, albeit with better players. But it's still a big ask to make it all work that quickly. So what Cooper's done is unbelievable, and he continues to defy the odds. And like I said before, besides the start of this season, under Steve Cooper, I've only ever really felt confidence, and just in general, like it just makes you feel reassured and confident, and it's amazing the effect that he's had on the club and the fan base is remarkable.
And that's the thing as well, because it's not well, he done it more this season than last season, but obviously he did it where a couple of signings in January last season, whereas this season he bought only used to have a couple last seasons, and obviously he is starting to show that sort of quality that he had um, last season. Oh, and it's showing now because he got us to a semi-final of the cup.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think when Cooper came in, I was pretty happy when he came in to the club. I mean, anyone's better than Chris Hughton, but I don't think anyone could have foreseen what he's ended up doing. And the fact that we didn't just get promoted in that way. It's not like we just got promoted; it's the way we got promoted. And then on top of that, we had an FA Cup run against big teams. We're now in the League Cup semi-finals. We're at the relegation zone in the Premier League. We won't talk about the FA Cup, but still, besides that, it's been unbelievable, really. And it's as close as us younger fans are going to get to what it was like when we were in Europe and winning trophies in the club. And the sky's the limit. I think with Forest right now, I don't ever see us doing what Cloughie did, but if we can just become a very, very stable, competent Premier League side that can push for top 10 and go pretty deep into competitions, I'll be more than happy with that. Maybe like the odd year in Europe, like that would just be, I wouldn't even really know how to describe that, seeing us playing European football, but we're a long way off that. But it's still very exciting, and it's long overdue. It's saying we're at the Premier League for so long.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, really good. And funny enough, I said after the game on Wednesday, someone asked me like, who would you want in the semi-finals? And to refer straight off after the game, I was like, I take anyone over two legs,
Mm.
especially who's in it, because I think, especially with us having a home leg as well, it's you got to feel confident because how good our home form been since keeper's contract.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really mind who we got because the fact we've got this far anyway, I think, is huge. But um, Man United was obviously going to be the hardest team to face, and we've got them. And the fact we can't play Henderson is a major weakness for us. I think. I mean, I personally probably be trying to sign with the goalkeeper because I just don't think Henderson's on the same level as him. He's done well before, but I just don't think he's in the same bracket as Henderson. Um, but yeah, ultimately, it's incredible, really, what we've managed to do. Um, so yeah, I'd be signing another goalkeeper ideally, but when it comes to the League Cup, Southampton, I think we would have probably had a huge opportunity to get to the final, regardless of we would have had Henderson, of course. But I think United, it's very difficult, especially because the away game's second. So even if we do get a good result at home, which I think we can because we just don't seem to lose at home this season. United have the potential to quite easily beat us at Old Trafford, as we saw on Boxing Day. So yeah, I do have my doubts about that. But the fact that we've just got this far anyway, I think is unbelievable. And we'll all be very, very happy with it. And
Just sign
yeah,
Henry urgently.
yeah, please just sign him. I want Hendo in as soon as possible. I think he's Forest through and through already. He just looks so invested in the club and up for it. And yeah, we definitely need to sign him, especially with what he has said about Man United. I don't see why they'd want him back. I think he would have been very up for playing against United as well, Henderson. So it's unfortunate for him. But yeah, I didn't really mind who he played. It's just huge achievement to get this far anyway. And I do kind of feel like it's unfortunate that it is over 2 legs because maybe a one-off game we would have stood a better chance than beating Man United. Like if it was just the home leg, like it has been for the other rounds, maybe we could have done it. But if we've got to go and do it again, I think is a big ask. But hopefully we can defy the odds yet again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we got a small matter of I wouldn't say a derby, but Leicester fans think it is a derby. So, just move a step. in a, I mean, we got Leicester tomorrow, and I mean, part of me surprised it's not been changed to an earlier kick-off, especially with
Yeah,
from last season. But I mean, spirits got to be up. It's going into tomorrow's match.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says a lot about the fact that it isn't really a rivalry like it is against Derby or even Liverpool or anyone like that, because it is literally just a local derby. But I wouldn't say it's a big rivalry because as Forest fans, we don't really care about Leicester in that regard. Like, I've never really had anything against Leicester. Like, it smarts a bit more when we lose to them than the teams because they are still technically in that bracket of being a rival. But the only reason why I was so frustrated and deflated after that first Leicester game is because we'd lost 4-0 to a relegation rival. It wasn't because it was Leicester. So I think if it was the other way around, Leicester fans would be thinking, "Oh God, we lost 4-0 to Forest," and it was Forest. I think it's a very one-sided rivalry, and the fact that it's not been moved to a TV game says a lot. But yeah, it's a huge opportunity. Obviously, Leicester, I know quite a few Leicester fans, of course, being in the East Midlands, and they're all very, very deflated and unconfident and not got much faith in Brendan Rodgers. And, I'm surprised he's still here. He seems to just get the occasional result which keeps him going a bit longer, even though I don't think he's a very good. Well, he's done well at Leicester before. He's won the FA Cup with them, but he quite clearly hasn't got it in him anymore to get them back up to that level. I just don't think. I think Leicester need a fresh start. They definitely need signings because they couldn't sign anyone in the summer, and it's all added up. And I think we had the potential to definitely, not easily. No game's easy in the Premier League, but we had the potential to beat Leicester for sure. And I'd be pretty disappointed if we don't. The fact they win the Premier League and I'm disappointed we won't win a game is a sign of how far we've come. So, I don't think Leicester, they don't really scare me. I know they beat us 4-0, but we've come a very long way since that match. We're still a bunch of strangers then. And since then, we've signed Scarpa, we've become a team. Because we really are a team. If you look at that match day pass video that Forest did for the Wolves game, the togetherness is unbelievable. I watched it a few times yesterday, just looking at certain bits, and I just thought that's so good to see all the lads so together and so united. And even the players that weren't playing, you saw Kurata and Lingard on the sidelines, and they're just such a team. It's like last season all over again. It's great. So yeah, I don't think we can put the blame on that anymore. It's just down to us now. We've clearly got the talent. We do need players in for sure. I think we still need to get a centre back, probably a striker, and we're going to be getting this Delineo guy from Palmeiras, which I think that's going to really help Scarpa's development, and then obviously Delineo's development as well. So it's a totally different ball game compared to the first Leicester match. They're arguably better because they're not bottom of the league, but I wouldn't say they're particularly good either. And us being at home, I would only fancy our chances. And, I'd be pretty surprised if they beat us at City Ground. I mean, they have quality, Leicester, but they're not showing it. And hopefully it stays that way tomorrow.
Definitely, and that's the thing as well. You see quite a lot of videos coming out from Lingard and Starper and that of the togetherness now.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, there was one yesterday involving Williams, Wowell, a couple others, and they were just sat on the staircase, and
Yeah, so that.
it was great to see because, I mean, you don't really get to see what they do get up to at training as much, but it was great to see, and that togetherness. I mean, Cooper said it last month. I can't remember what game it was. And he said about that the togetherness and that is showing, and obviously even after the Wolves game, how they all were celebrating and how all of them were dancing. It was great to see.
Yeah, just seeing their reactions to penalties going in and then winning the penalties. I just it was really brilliant to see. All the criticism we've got for signing so many players when people just don't know the context of why we've done it. They just don't do the research at all, and it's just frustrating to see Twitter just making memes out of us. Any team would have to do what we had to do, and we've seen teams in the past sign lots of players and it's not worked. Fulham, several years ago. but it seems to be working for Forest. Like I don't recall Fulham at any stage of their season doing it, having an upward turn in form, and I think from game one it looked like they were destined for relegation. And at times this season, I thought we were going to get relegated for sure. Like the Leicester game, I really thought that was it. Like we just looked totally lost. But I'm 85% confident we can survive now. Like I think it's not just me being biased. Like I really think seeing it in the flesh every week and watching it and researching it all, I just don't see any reason why we would. I mean, I think maybe if we don't sign any more players, you could maybe make an argument for it because our centre halves do need to improve. But we've got a really good team on paper. Like we've got some fantastic players, and there's definitely still things to work on. We're certainly not the finished article, but like I think we have enough 100% to at least survive, and then we can push on. And another reason why I wanted to survive is because if we get relegated, it's just going to be another mass overhaul of players again. And I just don't. That's the last thing we need. Like we'll lose a load of money from what we did in the last two transfer windows, and we just finally get another identity, and then it's lost because this is what makes it even more frustrating in the sense that we had to sign so many players in the summers because pretty much every year, even before Maranakis, Forest always signed lots of players, and it felt like you had a different team each year or a different kind of identity. And like the one to Chris Hughton, I have no fond memories of it. And the one under Cooper last season, it's one I'll never forget. It was a similar team, of course, but there was like all the lone lads in and that, for instance. But then obviously this season it's changed again. So if we survive, you'd probably think that the team wouldn't have to change like a huge amount. We'd still sign players in the summer, but I think you'd still have the core group of players, and it wouldn't have to be like a mass overhaul. Like it certainly wouldn't be 23 players. It would probably be maybe like 6 or 7 at a push. So I think that's great. But yeah, that's for the future. But I'm just saying, I just really think we can survive. I think we've got it in us for sure.
Yeah, that's finished. So you nailed it on the head for me, 100%. And now, hopefully, we can keep that core group of players now that we do
Yeah.
have. And obviously, you've seen that with like Yatesy, Colback, Wowell on Wednesday when we won, like all of them running over, like, and even without the penalties, Yatesy was the first one to celebrate near North.
Oh yeah, I looked at his reactions, and he's just everything about Nottingham Forest. Like every single thing that happens that goes in our favour, he's so up for it, and it's just a joy to watch Ryan Yates and Wall, or all of them. But the academy lads in particular, it's going to mean even more to them. And the lads that have been with us this whole time, like Wall, Yates, Johnson, Colback's been with us a long time now. 2017 we signed Jack Colback for the first time. Even players like Jordan Smith, they've been around this long, and for them to be part of the team that is in the Premier League and reaching cup semi-finals, it's great for them to be on the journey of us growing, and you're seeing Yatesy and Ward and Johnson obviously developing, and they're all still young players. Like Wall's the oldest, and he's 25, but he's still got loads of time left in his career, and it's great to have a core group of the squad being academy players, and they've been around for a while. And then obviously we've signed new players around it who are all looking obviously very talented now. So yeah, it's excellent.
Definitely. I mean, with tomorrow, obviously, we've probably don't be expecting that same 11 that played against Wolves, bar probably Bowley, who's just unfortunately picked up that not like he did because we looked quite in control with Bowley in defence. And no disrespect to Scott McKenna before anyone jumps and putting a meme about me on here. We just sort of lost our way when Bowley came off injured. I mean,
Yeah,
what?
it's sad. It's sad. Sorry to cut you off, but I was just saying with Bolly, like he's proved the doubters wrong, hasn't he? You know, like Man United away, he looked terrible. We were all saying, "What's Bolly doing? Why is he playing?" But the fact that in like 2 weeks he's drastically changed the opinion of Forest fans, fair play to him for that. And the fact that he's now keeping Scott McKenna out the side, someone that we all trusted so much last season, and even at times this season, I still love Scott McKenna. But yeah, I just think it's great. It's fair play to him. But the fact that we're now sad that he might not be able to play is testament to him. But it just definitely emphasised that we do need to sign another centre back, because I don't think particularly Cook or McKenna are really what we need. Really, if we're going to be honest, in terms of strength and depth, it's not really what we need. And just near Carter can finally be back the better. Only God knows when he will be back, because he's been out for that long. But yeah, it's excellent. I love seeing players prove the fans wrong. So fair play to Bolly, but hopefully Scott can step up now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we probably will see McKenna come into the side tomorrow against Leicester, which it wouldn't be bad for me, because obviously McKenna played with most last season, so it's not like we're having to rebuild a partnership that they know each side out, so which is quite good in a way. So and yeah, really, really positive.
Yeah, those two know each other incredibly well. Being teammates for a long time and playing together a long time. Will know Scott better than Bolly, obviously, but it's obvious that Bolly's been working better than Scott right now. So, yeah, I haven't got to worry when it comes to that, but maybe Scott's overall ability and form. I still think he's a great defender, but I just don't think he's been what we need right now. And I was surprised that he'd been dropped. But then again, actually, he got dropped up to that Spurs game, and because Bolly and Wall did so well, they stayed in. And, Bolly proved it out as well. And then Wall came back into the side after quite a bit of time out of it. And it says a lot that, Wall was on the bench for like 7 games, and we were playing Cook and McKenna together, and now they're just not needed. So, yeah, it says a lot that we've improved since they've both been took out the side together. So, yeah.
Definitely 100%. I mean, it has its negative, but it has its positives with it, because obviously you seen with Wall and Yatesy as well, to a good extent, since they had that time on the bench, they seem to have stepped up the games as well, which it is a positive as well.
I mean, yeah, I think the only I was thinking the other day actually about the squad. The only player really that's never been dropped this season is Yates. I think everyone else has been dropped, but not so much Uriah, but he wasn't here at the very start. And Henderson, to be fair, but everyone else, everyone in attack. Tyler's been on the bench at times. We've had Lingard, Johnson. Looks better now. He's been on the bench, and after the World Cup, I think that was kind of on his mind. He looks a much better player now. Ford has had a few games he's been on the bench, but he's now a staple of the side. But yeah, all the centre backs have been in and out at times. I think we've found the formula now. Obviously, before Serge arrived, it was Nico playing there, but I think we've realised that he's probably not quite what we thought he was. Loddy and Toffolo rotated a bit. We had Nico playing there a bit. So, yeah, I think it just says a lot about Ryan Yates, the character he is, and the fact that he's proven the doubters wrong yet again. That he's one of the very few players that hasn't been dropped at any stage this season in a Premier League side that's very much work in progress. It just shows how important he is. Nottingham through and through. So yeah, it's great, and I'm very proud of how he's done.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got a score prediction for tomorrow? Because I'll be honest, I keep thinking about last season FA Cup game, and my heart's sort of saying different to my head at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really read into that 4-0 because, obviously, like I said, it's a totally different scenario. We're significantly different to where we were. We play differently. We've got a different formation now, a different team basically in terms of how we set up. We're actually a team now. You know, everyone knows each other, and there's belief in all the players. And Cooper's now obviously got a new contract, so it's changed quite drastically since that first game. And Leicester, obviously, they were bottom when we played them. They're now 13th, but Leicester are a very poor side right now. Not on paper. On paper, they have some good players.
Mm.
Defensively, they do need to sign some players, and I do think that they need to get a striker in as well because I don't think Vardy's good enough anymore to be starting. And I spoke to Leicester fans, and they said the same thing. The general consensus of Leicester fans is they want Rodgers gone, and they don't think that the fact that they couldn't sign players in the summer is heavily screwed them over, and it's all added up. And you know, hopefully they can change that for their sake. But this is why I feel confident. You know, the fact that they've got quite clearly weaknesses, particularly in their defence, an aging attacking, mainly in Vardy, and the fact that the manager's not the best right now. You know, I watched their game against Newcastle in the Cup, and they were 2-0 down, and they brought on a defensive midfielder. You know, it reminds me of Chris Hughton, that does. So, yeah, like, it says a lot. It's a very negative thing to do. So I'm pretty confident. So I'm not going to say 3-0 or anything. I think I'll just go 2-1 Forest. But I think we'll get it done. You know, City ground atmosphere. We haven't lost for 7 games at home. We've only lost 2 games all season at home. Obviously, when we were developing, basically. So yeah, I don't think Leicester are at all what they were, or certainly not playing like it. And without Maddison as well, it's a huge loss for them. I still think their goalkeeper's an area of weakness with Danny Ward in that. So yeah, there's a lot of weaknesses we can exploit in Leicester. And with a home advantage, I think we can do it 100%, and it'd be a huge result. You know, to go from out the relegation zone to we'll be 13th if we win. Like, it's unbelievable to see us that high. We'll all take that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd take like a 2-1 or a 1-0. I think it'd be more evenly matched game than it was earlier, and I think with the atmosphere, if the atmosphere is going to be up there, which I'm expecting, with it being Leicester, I think, and obviously we're back in Low Bridgeford as well this season. I think the atmosphere going to be up there, and I think that will just be like the 12th man tomorrow, which will be brilliant and what we need.
Yeah, the atmosphere is always unbelievable, and fans are always, you know, backing the team. I think the only atmosphere this season where it was a bit off was the Bournemouth and Fulham games. I think there was a bit of complacency, and we didn't realise quite how much of a big task it was for the fact that we were developing, and we could lose to a Bournemouth side that are now, you know, playing really poorly and are on paper significantly worse than us, in my opinion. Like, they've got some good players, but they're not anything special, Bournemouth. So the fact that they beat us in the way they did, we can't say that Fulham was a bad result because Fulham are doing fantastic, the 6th in the league, but Bournemouth was terrible. And you know, if we play Bournemouth now at home, there's no way that would happen. It's because we were becoming a team, and it just shows you can play anyone, and you probably struggle to win if you are a bunch of strangers. Like, maybe not like if we were playing like a League Two side, but you know, I think even against some Championship teams at the start of the season, we would have struggled with some of the players we had, just because they were all new. So that's probably the reason why the atmosphere was a bit flat, because we were all a little bit complacent and not quite realizing that we were still bonding, basically. And now we are quite clearly forming a very strong team. Some of the things we see off the pitch, on the pitch, it's great to see. And it's took half a season for us to get going, basically. We're just under it. But I'm really optimistic for the rest of the season. You know, League Cup semi-finals, the fact that we're gelling now, come like January at the very least, is brilliant, and I'm very optimistic for the future for Forest going forward because of that. we've got some excellent players, and we're going to continue to sign excellent players as we're already doing with obviously Scarpa and Delineo, and probably going to be getting some more lads in as well. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to talk about your socials?
Yeah, everyone come over, subscribe to Rads. Lots of Forest stuff and football stuff in general. So yeah, vlogs, transfer news, all sorts. Yeah, come over, subscribe, everyone. I'd appreciate that, and obviously subscribe to Talk Forest TV as well.
Quality.
Quality.
Uh, yeah. Thank you for coming on as well.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem. Up
I
the
do like
Reds.
that. Up the words. Always quality as well. So I'd like to say thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.